Ndoyisile Jackson Gqoma. Very nice to have you with us, Jackson.
Thanks.
It's such a blessing to be able to share your life story.
Yes.
We understand that God has worked in your life in an incredible way.
Yes, true.
And He has used all of those situations that you have been through
Yeah.
to His honor and to His glory.
Yeah.
But Jackson, just to get to know you a little bit better, I normally don't ask people how old they are, so I won't ask you. But I will just ask what year you were born in. If you don't mind telling us, Jackson.
I was born 1960, 29 June.
The 29th of June, 1960.
Yes, in Grahamstown.
In Grahamstown. And you know that the best people are born in June, eh?
Yeah, the clever people.
So my birthday is going to come first in June, then yours is going to come afterwards. Yeah, so we mustn't forget each other. And Jackson, in Grahamstown, that's where you grew up your whole childhood?
My childhood, and I grew up, I worked there.
And worked there as well. And what work did you do, Jackson?
And I was a carpenter.
A carpenter?
Yes, a carpenter, yes.
So that was also a very good work to do, because the Lord was also a carpenter. So it's in good company to be a carpenter.
Yeah.
And Jackson, you also got married. You had children.
Yes, I was married in 1982. Then I got one child from my wife.
Yes.
Then things happened. Then I divorced.
Yes.
Then I have a girlfriend. Then I have 2 kids to my girlfriend.
Okay.
So my kids I got 3 kids.
Okay.
2 boys and 1 girl.
But you're not going to be like Zuma, Jackson,
No.
with lots of... So 3 children.
3 children.
And Jackson, what we want to do, obviously we understand that life has changed for you.
Yes.
So that life that you were living up until that point, where life changed, we want to hear that story of how things changed for you. So it was in 1994.
1994, in 6 March.
6th of March, 1994. So you were 34 years
I
old.
was 34 years old at that time.
Okay. And tell us, Jackson, what happened on the 6th of March?
6th of March, 1994, my stepbrother was asking me to drive them with his friend's car to the farm. Then his wayby was a stock fella there.
Stockfell, yeah.
Yes.
My wife also does Stockfell,
Yes.
so I know about that.
So, yeah. So, and during that period of the time, we were drinking the African beer.
Mkomboti, yeah.
Yes. So, when the time goes, my brother-in-law was sitting down on the mat. Then as he was sitting on the mat, he get up and go to the loo. Then he says that I must remove on the chair. And I said, no, I can't remove on the chair, because here's the young men that next to me, you can remove them. Then he says, no, you are going to the bush in the early stage, so I remove you on the chair. And I said, no, that is my culture. That's to go this time in the bush, the early stage.
So Jackson, you say that you were drinking the Mkomboti,
Yes, yeah.
but you said the others were also drinking
Yes,
brandy
yeah.
as well.
As well.
So it's not always a good situation
No.
when there's alcohol involved. And now there's a small little argument about culture. So in your culture, the older men sit on the chairs and then the young men sit on the
Yes,
mat.
sit on the mat, yeah.
But he wanted to come sit on the chair. And then he's asking you questions about when you went to the bush, and it's a very cultural thing.
Yeah.
But then you say you weren't feeling too good.
No.
So what did you do?
I just leave it, and then since wife was arguing, then I just leave it.
Yeah.
Then I go outside and sit down. Then as I was sitting down, I put my knee on the hands on my knees. Then I just sitting down. As I was sitting down, when I wake up, he was holding me like that and hit me against the wall.
Yes.
When I tried to grab him, then I felt unconscious.
So something happened.
Something happens.
So he assaulted you.
So I
And
assaulted.
just for us to understand who he is, Jackson, you say he's your brother-in-law, which is it's a lot easier to say it like that. It's your father's eldest brother's daughter's husband.
Husband, yeah.
So we just call him your brother-in-law, and then it's fine. It's almost like a cousin-in-law.
Cousin-in-law, yeah.
Yes. And Jackson, so then you fell unconscious. You blacked out.
Blackout.
And you don't know exactly what happened.
What was happening.
But then when you woke up, what What did you see?
When I was woke up, when the memory came back, I couldn't even move. My shoulder, my feet, my legs. Then I couldn't even move. Then at the time he was pushing backwards, and he says to other brother-in-law, to my step-brother, let him finish him, let him finish him. Me again, I said, okay, let him finish his work.
So he was shouting,
He was shouting.
I want to finish him, I want to finish him.
The time I was lying on my back,
Yeah,
Yeah.
not even able to move.
that I couldn't able to move.
And how did you feel about that, Jackson? You shouted back at him.
No, I couldn't even breathe properly.
Yeah,
Couldn't breathe properly. Because they were starting to sit me up straight.
Yes.
Then I feel that the spine is just pulling.
yeah.
Then as they take me inside the house, putting to sit on the mattress. Yeah.
And then you were lying there
So I lying
on the
there
mattress. And what were you thinking when you were lying there, Jackson?
What was coming to my mind on that time, the period of time, that was say that is the end of me now. Because now I'm dead now. Because I couldn't move, couldn't do anything for myself.
Yeah.
I said, no, that is the end of me.
It's the end of your
It's
life.
the end of my life now. My life
Yeah.
couldn't do anything.
And Jackson, so then your family, they took you to the hospital.
My, the sister's brother, he was taking me to hospital in the morning, not the same day.
They only took you to the hospital the next
In the
day.
next day, in the Monday,
Sure.
they took me to hospital. Then from the hospital, the doctor says, no, the blood is not moving.
Yeah.
So they take me to Settlers Hospital, take to Livingston, they sent to Cape Town.
So from Grahamstown Settlers Hospital, Livingston Hospital, Port Elizabeth, and then to Cape Town.
To Cape Town Hospital.
And you were in hospital for quite a while, Jackson.
For 7 months.
For 7 months.
In Cape Town.
And when you first got to hospital, Jackson, you couldn't move at all. You didn't have the same movement that you've got now.
Couldn't even move.
Yeah.
Couldn't even do anything.
So all of this movement that you have now, you've had to learn how to do that,
How to sit.
to become strong again, even just to sit.
How to sit.
Sure.
You have to train before to sit first.
Yeah.
Then
And Jackson, whilst you were in hospital in Cape Town, what happened with your cousin-in-law, this man that attacked
Yes.
you? Was he arrested? What happened?
yeah, I was not arrested. Because when I came back, when I was in Cape Town, this man, Mr. Snowball, he was this old man, was working with the street kids. Then he was always to talk to me and explain to me. Then because I was very angry, because what he has done to me.
Yeah.
Because for me, I fit the father of the family, but he, with his family, they have a good time. So me, I'm in Cape Town, far from my family. Then this man said, can you forgive your brother? I said, no, I can't. And then continue coming on Tuesday and Thursday. He was evangelizing me at the hospital every Tuesday and Thursday. Then he came, one day he came. Then after I was get that anger, that bitterness inside of me, I was got a headache. They call migraine headache.
A migraine.
Migraine
So
headache.
the bitterness, the
Bitterness
anger,
that,
giving you those
is
headaches.
causing. Then the day that I told myself that I forgive that guy, is whereby I was set free. Then even the pills I was drinking was reduced instead of that number I was drinking.
Yes.
Because I was free.
Because you didn't have that anger and that bitterness
Then I
anymore,
did that
Jackson.
anymore, that I forgive him.
And you, Mr. Snowball, he didn't just come once or twice, this Pastor Snowball that came to you. How long was it,
It
Jackson?
was continuing come
For weeks.
for every week.
And so it took you a long time.
Took me a long time.
And he would come and talk to you all the time and
All
tell
the
you.
time, all the time.
And you mentioned about the poison, that unforgiveness is like a poison.
Yes, because when this I take that decision that now I have to forgive my brother-in-law. Then I take the decision that I'm thinking that I drink the poison myself. The poison that I drink is going to kill my brother-in-law. But the poison I drink is going to kill me, not him, because he is free. It's only me that will die with this poison now I'm eating now.
Yeah. So you're the one drinking the poison.
This is the one, it's me drinking the poison.
But you're thinking that
I think that
he's the
is
one
him.
that's going to,
Yeah.
But it doesn't work like
It
that.
doesn't look like that.
And Jackson, then from Cape Town, after you had finished your rehabilitation
Yes.
there, you went back to Grahamstown,
I went
back home, and you spent a bit of time there.
I spent a bit of time there. Then I go back to my normal life.
Yes.
My normal life is to drink and smoke. Then the social worker was outside, and then I was coming a social worker. He always go and check me. Every time she come and check me, she find me drunk.
Yeah.
Then she said to me, no, I will take you and put you in the old age home. Then from the old age home, I'm still doing the same thing. Still doing the same thing. Then in 99, they filled the form. Then they sent me down to Summerstone and Cheshire Homes.
Yes.
Yes.
And Jackson, whilst you were there in Grahamstown and you're drinking and you're carrying on in your old life,
Yeah.
it was difficult for you,
It was very difficult.
to be in this situation.
In this situation, it was. I wanted to give up, wanted to die.
Yeah.
Because why? When I look at the people I was working with, my children, friends that know, right, I do not see them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jackson, with the man that attacked you, your brother-in-law, you wrote him a letter. But
Yes, while I was in Cape Town.
while you were in Cape Town.
Yes.
But he never responded to
But
the
he
letter.
never responded.
And you eventually, the social workers told you that you must take him to court. He must know that what he's done is wrong.
Yes.
And so you agreed to do that.
But there was not agree because the social worker, while we were sitting and chatting, he said to me, Ndoyisile, you have to do something for your brother-in-law. Because look at you now. You can't work for yourself, you can't help your children. So now let's sue this guy. I said, no, that is not going to bring strength to my legs, bring strength to my arms to walk again. So let him continue walking his life. And he said, no, let's teach him a lesson. Okay, I'll agree. I said, but for me, I don't like because it's going to be the blood money that this man is going to give. It's not come off the good heart because what he has done in my life to me. Then we are continuing, go to a legal aid, then go to court. And then it was the first time I see him, 1997.
The first time that you saw him
First
since it
time.
happened.
Since then,
Sure.
1997, at court. Even there, when I look at him, he didn't greet me.
He couldn't look at you,
He
couldn't
couldn't
greet
look
you.
at me, just hiding away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then since then, now we agree with the lawyers, everything. Then he says he's going to give me 40 rand a month. 40 rand for 30 years. Then from that 40 rand a month was combined the 12 month. The 12 month is going to be 480 rand a year. But that money for me, as I said, I couldn't even touch with my hands because that money is not come off the good heart. Because it's what I'm looking like now. Because that money is not the money I'm going to use for the useful. Then it was the people around the hospital, the old age homes, that street kids, homeless people. Then asked the guys, even the social worker, to buy the food for them
With that money.
with that money.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he paid that up until
Then
2013.
It started in 1997 and still in 2013. Then since 2013, I didn't even follow
Yeah.
up.
And Jackson, do you know the remarkable part of the story is that you are able to find not just forgiveness, but healing and growth, even without him asking for forgiveness. Because to this day, he still hasn't spoken to you, he still hasn't asked you.
Nothing.
But you are able to have that forgiveness in your heart.
For him, yes.
And there's a very beautiful story about that. That Jackson, your story started to change quite drastically from 1999 when you arrived at Cheshire Homes. We've got some footage that we're going to show of you at Cheshire Homes so that the congregation and everybody knows what it's like for you to live there now. This is your new home that you've been there for quite a few years.
Yes, 18 years.
And as you, we can see you going down the passages, and there's your room, Ndoyisile, Gqoma. Some of your photographs of of all the things that have happened there at Cheshire Homes, Jackson.
Yes.
And this is part of your new family that you have made there.
Yes, a new family that I made at Cheshire Homes.
We have one of our DSPs in Cheshire Homes, which is how we got to hear about your story. So Jackson, you watch all of our sermons each week.
Sometimes I get up late.
Yes.
Sometimes I get in half.
You're not supposed to admit that now, Jackson. But thank you for being honest. But we do repeat our sermons in the week, so you can see them later again. Now, as part of Cheshire Homes, when you first got there, there was a lady there that made a big impact in your life.
The lady who called Lorette Nimant.
Lorette Nimant.
Nimant, yes.
Yeah.
Was the lady when I arrived there. Was arrived there on Thursday. Then she came to me when I would go to the breakfast on Friday. She introduced me. She said, "We have a church here, Assembly of God. Then on Sundays, the guy who come and fetch people to church. So you allow to be the part of the church?" I say, "Yes, I love to go to church." But in that time, just not fully as I'm going to give my life to Christ. Just to go to church. Maybe, in me that time, I think that maybe something is going to be released in me.
Yes.
But really we're going 99, 2000 and 2001 is where I give my life to Christ.
Sure.
I give my life to Christ. Because when Pastor Vic was preaching in Jonah, when Jonah was sent in Nineveh, Jonah was taking his own way.
Yes.
Then Jonah chapter 1 verse 8 is whereby after the casting the thing, then it's called this man is not with us. And then they talk to Jonah. And one thing he was striking me is this word that, where are you from?
Yeah.
What is your occupation?
Those are the words that really struck home
That's
to you,
the
Jackson.
word that was striking me. Where I'm from, what is my occupation?
Yeah. So just like Jonah,
Just one.
he was on the ship
It was on a ship.
trying to run away from God.
God.
And there you were, Jackson, even though you were in a wheelchair, you were still running away from God.
From God.
You weren't making yourself available to Him.
True.
Because the work that God wants to do, and I think that's the beautiful part of the story of Jonah, is it doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want to do. You can try and run as much as you like. You can get on the ship. You can try and go as far as you want. You can never run away from God, even if you are in a wheelchair.
No.
That's right. And from that point, Jackson, there's a beautiful change in your life where you start ministering to others. And you start speaking to them about the Lord and about the way that He's worked in your life.
Yes, we were studying the cell group in the rooms. Then we used to read the scriptures and pray one another. Then we didn't know that is the ministry starting.
Yes.
But as we were praying and we pray with one another, then is whereby the ministry started at Church Homes. We call that is a Church Homes cell group.
And that was your certificate
As a first year
of gratitude to thank you for the Bible study that you run at Cheshire
Church Homes.
and some of the courses that you do. I know we saw the big pile of Bibles next to your bed as well, Jackson.
Yeah.
So I don't think there are many people that have that many Bibles next to their bed. But it's good to have God's Word. And there's the church that's on the way, that's down the way
Yeah.
from Cheshire Homes, the church that you go to. And Jackson, the part of the story that really touched me when I first spoke to you was we came along as a church group, as a congregation. We came to minister to you there in Cheshire Homes and to provide you with the DSP, to give you sermons and input. And then I heard your story, and I heard that you go and minister to the homeless people.
Yes.
So you've joined with the group at the church?
The student groups at church. The students are from university.
Yes.
The fellowship at church on the way. Then in the morning, we have a prayer. Then at 1 o'clock, the students, they cook food. Then at 2 o'clock or 2:30, we take the food and we go down to the lighthouse. Then we go to the salt ministry. Then we bring the food. We bring the food. We bring the clothing. We feed them with spiritually and
Spiritual food and food.
And food.
And Jackson, that's the lighthouse there by Summer Strand.
Yes,
on the beach where there are some homeless people.
Yes, along the beach. Because the name stands salt. They say share abundant life together. Because those people, they saw that they're abundant.
Yes.
There's no one who help them.
Yes.
Then we named that ministry Salt Ministry.
So those homeless people who feel like they have been left out,
Yes.
and maybe Jackson, maybe they also feel that God is not interested in them. It must be an incredible inspiration for them to have you go and speak to them and to let them know how God has worked in your life. You know, that it doesn't matter what your situation is, what the circumstances are, but that God is able to work, which is really beautiful, Jackson. And it's not just the homeless people that you minister to, but you minister in Cheshire to the residents. You minister to the homeless people, and you minister to the students.
To come and fellowship with us.
So Cheshire Homes has got an understanding with NMU, where the students come to do some of their practical work, the physiotherapy, even some of the psychology students, and then they come and work with you, but they don't know that you're actually working with them. Because you're telling them about the Lord,
spiritually,
which is beautiful, Jackson. And I know you've had some opportunities, even with some exchange students that come from overseas.
Yes, but the overseas students, they are here only for a short period, 6 months.
So then you have to make sure that they get the message quickly.
With them 6 months. Then as the time goes, then when the other one comes, they want to put them in their places.
Yes, but that's fantastic, Jackson. That's really good. And Jackson, I know that the ministry that you carry out there has been a real inspiration to a lot of people. And the Lord is using you in an incredible way. But we also know that it's not just from that spiritual perspective, but when you arrived at Cheshire Homes early in 2000, you also met somebody else, Bertus Swanepoel.
Yes, Bertus Swanepoel was the guy who was used to paint with his mouth and his hands.
Yes.
Was at a car accident. He was staying in front of my room. He was my friend or neighbor. Then I said, this guy, he had the brush with his mouth, but he was using the old paint. Then I said to him, hey man, let me try.
Yeah.
He said, no, you can't. Then as we doing, he gave me the brush, and then I start with the brush, and then feel my neck. He's stretching my neck.
Yes.
But as the time goes, this man, he gave me the pencil. He said, draw the pencil mark, between those pencil mark, that putting the paint.
Yeah.
And it's whereby I started to do the painting.
So this is incredible, Jackson, how you first have to do the whole pencil drawing. You do the whole drawing yourself in pencil?
In pencil.
And it takes you about an hour or two to do it?
Hour and two, maybe sometimes 3. And it depends how big is the picture.
Yes.
Yes.
And Jackson, you aren't really able to use your hands, so you do it all by mouth.
All by mouth.
And then you've also got an art teacher who's helping you. You changed from the oil.
Yes, Ian Shaw, when Lee's class and Lynn Robert, is the 3 teachers there. They changed us to the oil paint, to the water paint. Then they brought us a paper. Then from the paper, we just draw with a pencil. Then between the pencil mark, we put the colors in. Then it become like what the things we see.
Now, Jackson, these paintings that you have done are absolutely beautiful. And you've had an opportunity to exhibit these paintings. So with some of the students from NMU.
Yeah.
They put on an exhibit every year.
Yes, it's the guys from Arts and Culture.
Yes.
Yeah, then every September, they ask the 2 weeks at university, library, so to sell our paintings. But now this year is going to be the 4th year they exhibit our paintings.
And Jackson, as it's gone for over these years, You've been able to strengthen your neck, so you've learned, obviously, how to paint, a lot of different techniques, and your paintings are really beautiful. Could you ever have imagined, Jackson, when you were lying on that mattress,
Mattress on my bed.
when you thought that your life was over? You thought, that's it. That's the end of my life.
I was telling myself that.
We've spoken here today about how you've been able to inspire the NMU students who come there. You've been able to run the Bible study for the residents at Cheshire. You've been able to join a ministry in helping homeless people.
Yes.
You've learned how to paint. Did you ever paint before?
I never paint before.
So when you could use your hands, you didn't paint.
I couldn't paint.
And now that you can't use your hands, now you paint
But I
beautifully.
could maybe with my mouth.
And Jackson, I think that that's part of the really beautiful story, that these are the things that God has brought about in your life.
Yes.
That before that, when you speak about your old life, Jackson, you speak about how you were just living for yourself. And now you have a different reason for living.
Yes, it's true.
What is your favorite Bible verse, Jackson?
Yeah, my favorite Bible is Philippians 4, verse 13.
Yes.
Because why? It's the time that when we look ourselves, we look at our life. When I look at my life, I was telling myself that I'm unlimited. Because I'm limited, but through Christ, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Because now I'm unlimited. I'm unlimited.
So when you're living for yourself,
12,
you're limited.
I'm limited.
But through Christ,
Through Christ,
you are unlimited.
I'm limited.
And Jackson, do you know the inspiring part of who you are and your testimony and your story is that to look at life, we mustn't always come up with excuses.
It's true.
Because we've all got excuses.
So
And we all tell ourselves, no, I can't do this and I can't do that and I've got these reasons and those reasons. And you have just shattered all of those.
all those things.
So when you look at your life and you think about what your abilities are, you have been able, God has made you able to do things that you would never have
Never
imagined that you could do before.
It's
And
true.
that's the work that God is able to do.
Yes.
Jackson, it's a really beautiful story. And I know that not only have you inspired many people in the past, but that God will continue to use you and use you to inspire many more people. And so, Jackson, I just want to thank you for making yourself available and for not being like Jonah and trying to run away, but for listening and
Yes.
to say to God,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
answer that question.
Yeah.
Where are you going? Where do you come from?
Yes.
And what is your occupation? What is your occupation now, Jackson?
Yeah. Occupation now is to share the gospel.
Your occupation now is to share the
To
gospel.
share the gospel.
Amen. What a beautiful
To save
occupation.
souls.
So, Jackson, we are very privileged to share with everybody
Yes.
that you share the gospel. And may you continue to do that. The Lord bless you, Jackson.
Amen.